Hey, Newsa-Cast listeners. Just want to give you a little information about the mission of the Newsa-Cast. Our mission stems from the mission of the Red Smith Banquet, and that mission was to support youth sports in the Fox Valley. Over the 57 years of its existence, we've been honored to give out over $1 million to various youth sports organizations throughout the Fox Valley. The Newsa-Cast is looking to continue that mission and support youth sports as well. You can help us do that by donating to the Newsa-Cast and the Red Smith Sports Banquet.
On today's Newsa-Cast, Tosh and I are talking Mila music. We sat down with one of Mila's artists, Alyssia Dominguez. We had an incredible in-person conversation with her. Tosh and I take an old look at new, which is brought to you by Raleigh Winter and Associates. Our Red Smith Banquet Throwback brings us to the year 2005. Sports broadcaster Bill Macatee joined us. We finish off the show like we always do with a little It's Forgotten and I'm Never Forgetting. So what do you say, folks? Let's keep the music rolling and let's get this show on the road.
I'm a very big person that believes in signs and all that. So if I can just help someone, do the thing they want to do. When you have someone come up to you at the end and say, oh my God, I've been there, or like, you've helped me. Like I had a couple that came up to me and they're like, we've been really wanting to like travel, like sell our house and do van life. They're like, we're taking this as a sign. Like, I think we're going to go for it. It's just cool to hear something like that.
Welcome to the Newsa-Cast. What is a Newsa-Cast? It's where we bring local folk stories to life through conversation.
All right, Newsa-Cast listeners, welcome to another episode of the Newsa-Cast. We're going to call this one our mile-centric Newsa-Cast. As you may have known, if you listen, we have recorded early for a couple weeks, and just because of scheduling and different things like that. So we know it's a week after Mile of Music, but we're going to concentrate on what we saw at the amazing Mile of Music.
Tosh, we needed that extra week just to, decompress. Man, what a week. Those 4 days, I think they're my favorite 4 days of the year. Just absolutely had unbelievable fun Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah, it was great. We had a little bit of weather on Thursday, but that didn't dampen the spirits of the mile. I honestly haven't heard numbers yet, but I cannot imagine that this isn't a record-breaking year for them. It was packed everywhere.
There were lines every day.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, I'm not sure about Sunday afternoon, but there were lines everywhere, especially like the bent keg and the bar and, places like that a lot. Yeah, exactly. That whole stretch was unbelievably packed. And then, at times the ballroom would be darn near completely full.
Yeah.
And that's a huge room. That's where the Red Smith Banquet was held for a lot of years. So we know a lot of people can fit in there. You're right. It was, Thursday, there was just a little that we had the thunderstorms. It sucked because we had Eric Krieger on, a couple of episodes ago. We were excited to go see him Thursday. Yeah. And unfortunately, the lightning was in the area and they had to shut down all the outdoor stages, but indoor was fantastic. Mm-hmm. And other than that, though, Tosh, boy, the way you could not ask for. Well, I suppose you could ask for cooler weather.
Yeah, I was going to say about
15, weather.
15 degrees cooler would have been very, very nice.
Yeah.
But, as far as severe weather like we've had in the past and things like that, it was fantastic. They had a good weekend. All those outdoor places. It was absolutely incredible to see that many people wandering around downtown Appleton.
I was telling you before we recorded, I love that view. Like when you're walking from the Paper Valley Hotel westward and you got a dip and then you can see a few blocks down and it is just a sea of people. And that's so cool to see. And I know they've done this in years past. Great idea to obviously have no parking, but replace parking with that extra walking room on the sidewalk. I use that all weekend to get up and down those couple of stretches. And boys,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm just in awe, Tosh. The venues this year were fantastic, but they're always just slightly different, slightly new. I mean, Emmett's was just that's a big stage, huge. Spats, man, what an intimate. When you get the right band, and they had the Ithaca played there, and I tell you what, we can maybe talk about it later. But my favorite band of the weekend, Pajamas, they played there. Oh my God, what a show that was Friday night.
Yeah, you know what? That brings up a good point. First of all, obviously a big, huge thanks to Dave Willems and the entire Mile of Music crew. I'd love to hear their process of bands, because they come up. I mean, we had bands that are playing Lollapalooza this past weekend as well. And they're here in Appleton playing for free. So, just it is incredible to me what they do, and that entire process. I'm sure, they're decompressing a little bit here, but I'm sure they're already thinking about next year, what they can do to continue and make it better. It's an amazing event, that whole Mile of Music team. And again, also huge shout out to all of the volunteers, because without the volunteers and everything that they do, there wouldn't be a Mile of Music. So amazing.
No, you're right, Tosh. I saw the T-shirts this year. They were everywhere. No matter where you were, you saw Mile of Music volunteers, whether they were picking up garbage or doing a lot of like the cash tips. They had the electronic cash tips. I thought they did a really, really good job. And I hope I went to the closing song, and at that time they said they were $10,000 short of their goal of what they needed to have it break even. And I hope they got that. And I know you can still donate, because I actually donated this the day after, the Monday after Mile of Music. I went onto the music community and put in a donation, because I don't, it's so worth it, Tosh. It's so worth it. And I thought they did a great job of trying to solicit tips before every show too. I thought this was something that they added, I think, this year. They had a nice announcement before every gig, before every set. They had a recorded announcement thanking everybody and just saying, hey, we could use a little bit of help. If you like what you're doing, and we all liked what we were doing on those days, just, throw a couple of bucks in the tip jar, and let's keep this thing around forever. Because that's the other thing, Tosh, I wanted to say that I knew this, and we've had, like Matt Tenhanken has talked about the tourism, and, and Dave and Kim Willems, we've had them on, and they've talked about people come here, and I believe them, but I really saw it this weekend, because I bet you I met people from a dozen different states, just shooting the bull, seeing a show, seeing a set, the person next to you start talking, not while the music was playing, but before, while you're waiting, you talk to them, and then I no lie, it was like the license plate game. I had 12 states, and there were people. There was a couple that I talked to actually waiting. Ben Malwana is somebody that we interviewed, and we're gonna have him in a later episode. And I really wanted to see him Thursday, and went down to Riverside, and that was the night that the lightning hit. We saw Ben play for 3 shows, but there were three songs. The person I sat next to, they were from Eau Claire, and they come every year and stay in a hotel, and they come to Mile of Music, and they bring, sometimes they bring neighbors, sometimes they have up to 10 people from that area. They just come here because they love Mile of Music. They also discovered Oktoberfest. They now come to Oktoberfest as well. So, it's just you hear stories like that firsthand, and it's so cool to hear, and you can understand why they come.
Yeah, it is. It has become one of those things that people come back to year after year and book. And that's fantastic. I mean, we want to keep it going. You want to keep it free. If you got a chance, go to the Mile of Music page and donate, and keep this thing running. I mean, it's a fantastic event.
Absolutely. Well, Tosh, you and I had kind of a special fun time. Something that we never experienced at Mile, but thank you so much to Kim Willems Mothy. She hooked us up. She gave us media badges, Tosh. You and I have nice lanyard media badges. But more importantly, she gave us contact information and got us hooked up with some artists. And we ended up with 4 of them, Eric Krieger being the first. And then we need to shout out another big thank you to Pete Wall. Pete, you may know him as Little Pete. He plays some of the local bars. More than likely, you'll see him at the farmer's market playing his guitar and singing songs. He has a studio on downtown and on College Avenue, and hooked us up with studio space. So got all the microphones set up, had a nice studio space set up, and Kim set us up with contacts. And Tosh, you and I got some, we hung out with some artists, and you're going to hear one today with Alyssia. We hooked up with her and several others. And I tell you what, Tosh, that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Alyssia Dominguez, if you got to see her, she was fantastic. A great interview. Super, super talented person. So yeah, we're going to hear an interview with her. She was the first one we did, and she was absolutely fantastic. And, we're going to have several more come out as well. We think you're going to enjoy them. It's may not be somebody from this area, from this neck of the woods, but it is still somebody who's here and who's contributing to the good of the Fox Valley. So
absolutely. And you know what you and I found out? I found this really curious. Their stories are so similar to everybody else that we talk to in the sports world, aren't they? Yeah. It's so cool.
Well, you know what they say, music and sports kind of go together. You can't have one without the other almost. They're
each
so
wants to be the other.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They really are. They really are. Well, so that was fun, Tosh. I mean, you and I was Friday and Saturday. We spent a few hours each of those days hanging out with some of the artists, Ben Mulwana, like I said, and Alyssia, which you're going to hear today, and Carsey Blanton was awesome too. She was cool as can be, and yeah. So look for those. Tosh, did you? I know I caught music all weekend. I know you had a lot going on. I don't have kids that I have to run to practice anymore, so that frees me up. That's for sure. Do you have any favorite bands that you like besides our own Diggstown, who absolutely killed it with 2 sets?
Yeah, I have to rely on you. I didn't get a chance to see Diggstown, unfortunately, because I would have liked to run into our very first interview on the podcast, CJ. But
talk to CJ.
If you get a chance, go back and listen to that first episode or any of the episodes. But there were some bands. I really liked Post Sex Nachos from Ohio. They played Lollapalooza this weekend as well. Happy Landings was fantastic. Bermuda Search Party.
They were so good. They were one of my favorites.
Yeah. Easy
Bermuda
Honey.
Search Party, Tosh. I got a story about them. Thursday night, the weather actually helped me on this. So that was one of the shows they were supposed to play outside, Bermuda Search Party, Thursday night. Got lightning or stormed out. They surprisingly rescheduled, and the set didn't start. I mean, it was midnight when that set started. maybe even 12:15, 12:20. The set started at Appleton Beer Factory, and happened, that used the app, man. I came across the app, and I was downtown. I was feeling pretty good, Tosh, and wandered over to Banquet, and I rode the rail, man. I was right in front of the bass player.
Nice.
And if anybody saw Bermuda Search Party, I'm sure they liked the bass player, Tosh. She could kill it. She could sling.
That's good. All right. And if you saw Joe in that state, well, appreciate
it. Yes, this is a kids show, but I was in many states and many different nights. That's for sure. But it's one of the things I love about Mile, Tosh, is I feel like it a long 4-day festival. There's lots of like chunks of time in there, and there were large chunks of time that I thoroughly enjoyed. That's for sure.
That's good. That's what Mile is all about, enjoying yourself. So
that's right. That's right. The other thing we should mention, so Mile is great. We love it. It's live music. I found it interesting, and it's so true. So many of the artists, while they were on stage and they're thanking people, they reminded us that live music is year round. So there is live music all the time.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. And some of the local bands, you know, a lot of the local folks played Mile, like Lily. We had Lily Collins on. She had a great set at Jekyll's. Iftica. I tell you what, if even if you don't like jam bands, but if you like jam bands, absolutely check out Iftica. I caught their set at Spats. I know they had a really good one Sunday afternoon, I believe, or no, Saturday night, I think it was, at Rookies. That was a late night set. I'm sure that was fantastic. When you see them around, catch them. Like we mentioned, you know, our favorite band, Diggstown, they absolutely killed it. Yeah. And of course, you know, Cool Waters always, they've been around 30 years. I mean, hard to believe 30 years they've been around. And that was quite a night at Emmett's that night. I caught that set, and that place was packed, and they can hold a lot of people at Emmett's.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you know what? Eric Krieger mentioned that as well. You know, we are a music community now, and there's music going on everywhere. You just have to look, and you will find it. And whether it's somebody with their guitar playing, maybe at the Hop Yard, or somebody downtown or anywhere, there's live music to be found. So if you enjoyed Mile of Music, make sure you're checking things out, looking at websites, looking at socials, and finding out who's playing where.
Check out the Newsa-Cast. We love talking about it because you, Tosh, just triggered something I saw on August 18th. I think that's a Sunday, or whatever that Sunday is. I'm sorry, I don't have a calendar in front of me, but 7,000 Apart. They were a band that played at Mile of Music. They were a band that, unfortunately, I had some contact with them. They were all set to do an interview with us, and their lead singer had little bit of a throat issue, and that is the most important instrument in the band. So they unfortunately had to cancel on us, but hopefully we can reconnect with those guys. But they're playing at the Hop Yard on, I believe it's August 18th.
All right.
On a Sunday afternoon. So yeah,
fantastic.
Check them out. Yes.
All right. Well, I suppose we've rambled on enough about the Mile of Music, but we're not going to stop, but we will stop this opening and move on with the show. Right, Joe?
Yeah, let's get this show on the road, right, Tosh?
You bet.
It's that time again, once again, for an old look at new, brought to you by Raleigh Winter and Associates, celebrating 55 years. Did you know that in 1962, an Appleton junior high school teacher with a strong work ethic started a residential realty company? His name, Raleigh Winter. 3 generations later, the Winters still hold true to a strong work ethic and an excellent reputation in the community. Today, Raleigh Winter and Associates remain actively involved in providing retail, office, and industrial users an affordable, well-designed working environment through the creation and/or acquisition of quality real estate in the Fox cities and even beyond new. So what do you say? Let's take an old look at new.
All right, Newsa-Cast listeners, it is time to take a little look at history in that segment we like to call the old look at new. So, Joe, what do you have for today?
Well, Tosh, the year is 1942. It's January 29th here in Appleton, Wisconsin. And the newest, the most modern center of entertainment opened up that day. And that was the Viking Theater in downtown Appleton. Tosh, look out, huh? 1942.
Yeah.
They opened. They had four shows that opened. According to this ad, continuous shows, Tosh. I Wanted Wings. Don't even recognize anybody in that, but Tanks a Million, Aloma of the South Seas, and this one, I think this is what I would have gone to see, Saps at Sea, starring Laurel and Hardy. I do remember that was one of my dad's all-time favorites. So I'm thinking 1942, he would have been 20, 21 years old then, just probably didn't even know he was going to go to World War II yet. He might have gone to that, Tosh, opening of the Viking Theater.
There you go. That's a lot of memories at the Viking Theater growing up in Appleton, and now it's Nakashima.
Yeah.
So
yes, every time isn't it bizarre? I don't know if have you been to Nakashima's?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you walk, I mean, Because naturally, I think, God, this used to be a theater, and it's just you don't have you have no clue. No. It's not even.
No, not at all.
Nobody would ever guess that was a theater in a million years.
Absolutely not. And it's gone through several things since it was a theater. But people who are from this area still remember it as the Viking. That's where you went to see your shows. I think I remember seeing Rocky there, and
oh yeah,
Rocky. I don't know which one it was. The Eye of the Tiger one, whatever one that was.
Yeah. That might have been 1 or 2. That was early.
No, it was like 3 or 4. But
okay.
But it was that was good. So that was a cool place for sure.
No, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of great movies. I remember seeing one of the Star Wars Empire Strikes Back maybe there. And
all right.
I do remember too, they had Saturday afternoon movies like the Apple Dumpling Gang, Tim Conway. Sorry, my voice is going. Tim Conway, things like that, were Saturday afternoon kind of staples as a kid growing up.
That's awesome.
Well, great memories, Tosh. How about you? What are you taking a look at this week?
Well, we talked earlier in the show that we're recording a little bit early, just for some production time. So we're actually recording this on what is today? April 5th, but August 5th, I'm sorry. August 4th, 1993 was a pretty big night in baseball. And it was a huge night because of the brawl that took place. And if you know anything about some of the most famous fights in baseball, this is probably right up there with it. August 4th, 1993, we had Nolan Ryan on the mound, who was 40. Is he 40? Oh my gosh, I think he was 46. And, he plunked some guys in his life, 158 batters. He plunked a 26-year-old named Robin Ventura. And Robin Ventura thought that he was going to get the best of Nolan Ryan, which nobody gets the best of Nolan Ryan. And he came charging out of the mound, and Nolan Ryan put him right into a headlock and just started punching him to the gut, uppercutting him, and just got the best of the 26-year-old. I mean, it was a 20-year difference in age, but you don't mess with Nolan Ryan, right?
He was a tough SOB, wasn't he, Tosh?
He was. He absolutely was. Still throwing at 46 years old, still pitching professionally, and still throwing in the upper 90s and hitting 100.
I saw him throw out a first pitch this year. Sometime it was one of the
still threw in the 80s
on YouTube. Yeah. I mean, he freaking brought the heat.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, he was as old school gets. I mean, you'd get hit, you would not show him up. He'd protect, the inside part of the plate was his. But a freaking guy could just chuck. I mean, he was. And then there was no inning limits, Tosh. I mean, how many innings is that guy threw? 1,004,000?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just pretty incredible.
Oh, unbelievable. But that Robin Ventura, I remember when that happened, and he had to at least get 4.
It was
if not more before somebody even came close to stopping him.
Right. It was pretty. It was pretty epic. As far as baseball fights go, that's probably one of the best ones that you'll ever see, and it was pretty incredible.
Just I mean, you talk about an ass kicking. That's the very definition of an ass kicking.
The funny thing about that fight, though, is that Robin Ventura got ejected because he charged him out. Nolan Ryan didn't get ejected.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Nice.
He stayed in the game. Yep. He was actually allowed to continue playing. So,
just out of curiosity, I wonder if that was the rule, or do you think the umpires were maybe like, who's going to tell him he's kicked out?
Who knows? I wouldn't have told him.
No. As a former official, Tosh, I wouldn't have either.
Well, those are pretty epic. That's fantastic. Who lets us do this, Joe?
Well, Tosh, that would be Raleigh Winter and Associates. They let us do this, Tosh. So we thank them, and that's our take on an old looking new.
Hey, Newsa-Cast listeners, you are about to hear an interview with a fantastic artist that we got to sit down with, Alyssia Dominguez. She's actually from the southern part of Wisconsin, but splits her time between Wisconsin and Nashville.
What a pleasure. I mean,
Yeah.
what a cool story. I'm just her grandma teaching her, basically music.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we think you're going to enjoy it. Look out for her. She was just on at the AMC Music Festival in Nashville on the Spotlight stage. So really, truly, I mean, when we say look out for her, we really, truly hope, give her all the support that we can because she was fantastic and she has just an amazing voice. Check her out on Spotify. Check out her music and enjoy the interview.
So this is your first time to Mile, right?
Yep.
Yeah. What do you think of Appleton?
I love it. So like I've been to Appleton a few times for the Gibson Hall shows. I just like love Appleton, the live music and the originals.
Yeah.
Just the community here. Everyone seems to really like it. So
It used to be, and we've talked to some of the musicians we've had on the show over the past year, and we've talked about the venues and original music because this used to be a cover band town. It would be, 80s hair band kind of music. You wouldn't be able to. There wasn't stuff like this where you could come see somebody like you. That wasn't a thing. But when Mile of Music started, everybody got into original music, and now we're just
cool.
Literally blessed to have people like you and to have Mile of Music, and just it's original music. Certainly these 4 days, but it's year round.
Yeah.
it's awesome.
It really is. It's cool as can be.
Yeah, for
Music
sure.
is reborn, I feel like, here.
Right? Exactly. It's like a mini Nashville.
It is. Well, it's funny you say that because Dave Willems talked about that, and it's amazing. We do kind of have a tie with Nashville, and you can probably speak to it. There's a little bit of truth to that, isn't it? It is kind of has that Nashville vibe on a smaller scale, Appleton?
Yeah, for sure. I would say so. Like, I mean, obviously it's like different in, the Broadway that everyone pictures.
Right.
But like just the original music community here.
Yeah.
I'd say it's pretty
College Avenue's
similar.
better than Broadway, right?
Yeah, right. True. Honestly, I don't really go to Broadway very much when I'm in Nashville, so.
How often do you spend down in Nashville? How do you split your time?
Yeah, so I'm there every month, and depending on like what I have scheduled, I'll be there either like one time for a full week or longer, and then sometimes I'm there twice a month as well. So it just depends on what I get scheduled.
Okay.
I made the rookie mistake of a Mile of Music goer attendee. I got to your gig yesterday at Jekyll's just a little, well, basically as you started, but that's too late because I was pinned up against a wall, so I couldn't enjoy it. But your set was amazing. Your first set at Mile, I mean, Jekyll's was packed.
Thank you. It was. I was like, when I first got there, I was like, there's people here. I was nervous, but it was fun.
Yeah, there's people everywhere. That's what's cool. And you'll see the same thing. I'm sure Copper Rock will be full this afternoon too for you. Your guitar, I have to ask you. I love your guitar. Is the hole a heart? I wasn't close enough to see.
No,
what
I wish it was though.
It looked like it from my angle.
No, it's like a little triangle shape.
Okay, got it.
But I saw it in the music shop, and I was like, oh, I have to have this because I saw it was pink. But I didn't think it was gonna sound good because like usually the cutesy guitars aren't like the best sound.
Right.
But then I played it and plugged in. It sounds awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. How many guitars do you have?
I don't have too many, but I think I have like 4 acoustics and then 2 electric.
Nice.
Yeah.
So if we could go back and kind of look at your childhood and just kind of talk about how you got your start. What was your inspiration? What was that magic moment that you were like, this is it?
I think it was my grandmother. So she used to sing around the house all the time. And so she'd play acoustic, and she was self-taught. And the ways that she learned was crazy because she, when she was younger, she would just like go to a music shop and like listen to people play. And she just learned from them.
It's amazing.
But she would play around the house, and then she'd do all old Spanish music. A lot of like, they call it Tejano.
Yeah.
So she would play that, and then she would play like, she would come over to our house all the time. So she'd just come hang, and then even on holidays, we'd all, like Christmas especially, we'd all just sit around her while she played and sang. And it was just like, I don't know, I was always mesmerized when she did that. So I fell in love.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So that was your growing up years? You were young when she was doing that?
Yep. As for as long as I can remember. And then around 15 years old, my mom was like, I was into horseback riding back then too.
Yeah.
So my mom was like, okay, we're at this point. We could either buy you a horse or buy you a guitar. And I picked a guitar. And then my grandmother just kind of like taught me what she knew. And like, there's like one specific moment I remember when she was teaching me, and I had learned, I don't even remember what song it was, but I would sing it, and then she was like, do it again. And I'm like, okay. And then I'd keep doing it, and she was like, you're not singing it with feeling. She's like, I can't feel what you're singing about. And then it sounds so goofy and like hippy dippy when I say it, but I was like, when she said that, and then I tried to sing with like the emotion, it was just like this weird feeling that it just clicked. And then ever since then, I've carried that with me. So
That's awesome.
It's cool that you say that, because when I listen to your music, I definitely can feel, I mean, you can tell that what you're putting into it.
Sure.
It comes out in your music tremendously.
That's good to hear.
It's amazing. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Were you in like choir or music in school then as well?
So I never was in choir in school, only because I didn't love the music that they did.
Yeah, right.
So I was in band though.
Okay.
And I played the flute. But I was mostly in it, I think, because my friends were there.
Sure.
But I did learn, a lot with, timing and all that with music too. But I only was in that for like a few years, and then.
Okay. Did that help you, having that background with the flute, pick up some of the guitar stuff as well, or you didn't transfer?
Yeah, but like I said, maybe just like I learned timing a little bit, but that was about it. Because even when I played guitar, a lot of it was learning on my own. I did take some lessons, but a lot of the teachers that I had met up with were really cool, but it was more like, show me a song and I'll teach you how to play it. Yeah. So I didn't really technically learn how to play. I just was really good at mimicking. So. And
that's how your grandma learned, right? I mean, you guys were kind of self-taught.
Yeah, for sure. I actually have in my bedroom a framed piece of paper that I found of hers, and it was like chicken scratch, but it was like her way of knowing what to play on the guitar. And it was the weirdest thing. That's like, cool. I still can't decipher it, but I was like, oh, that's so cool that she just had her own method.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Do you have your own method then? Did you develop your own method?
Honestly, I just kind of watch people, and I don't know, it just kind of sticks with me to remember what I'm playing. And
your songwriting process, Eric talked about, just the beautiful song, the lyrics. What is your songwriting process? I mean, how do you get the idea from your head to the stage and out to the crowd? What's that process like for you?
Yeah, so it's different, I feel like, every time. A lot of the time I try to write as much as I can, and so I'll have an idea book and just either titles or lines, and a lot of them are not great. But I just kind of try to pay attention. Like, that's another thing I've had to learn as a songwriter. Like, even being out and about, you just have to pay attention to like what someone says, or like, oh, that's a cool way they phrase that. Mm-hmm. And then
everything becomes content, really, right?
For real. And eventually, I don't know, sometimes I'll just be sitting at home with my guitar and I'll just like have a melody idea, and then I'll pull from my ideas in my book, or sometimes something random pops in my head. And then a lot of the times I like to co-write with people down in Nashville. So that always helps, just, to get the best out of the song a lot of the times.
Those co-writing sessions, those are planned sessions?
Yeah.
And then when you're just writing on your own, just your own, is that kind of random, or do you sit down and plan to write a song, or does a song just kind of spill out of your head?
Yeah, it really depends. Like, a lot of the time I'll try to set some time in the day to, strum, or at least like try to figure out something. But I don't always force it. Like, if it's not coming, I don't, I'll put it down. But then, sometimes I'll just be practicing, and then all of a sudden that leads to some other song.
Do the lyrics, so do you find the melody first usually, and then you go to your book and kind of find lyrics to fit?
For me, I'm pretty strong with melodies for writing, so that's what comes naturally to me.
Sure.
But every once in a while, like some lyrics will spill out, and then I got to put the music to it. But it's just so all over the place, really.
I love that. We ask so many of our guests about that. I'm fascinated about ideas, and just because we always have ideas. You're right. The whole world's content, but to capture that and to write it down and then just to present that idea it's always amazing to me, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, and I think it's a skill. Like you have to learn, or at least for me, I had to really learn that and pay attention, and you have to be a good listener. So
that's the key. I'm still trying to learn that.
Same.
A lifelong lesson for sure.
So when did you feel like you could, you started playing venues and playing different places? When did that all start for you?
So it all started, everything kind of started around the age 15 for me.
Okay.
So when I was interested and started playing, my mom would just find little art crawls in the area, and then she would have me play in then like little coffee shops.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I was pretty fearless back then.
That's awesome.
So I was just like wherever, and then that's where I just fell in love with music so much that, I'm not saying this is a good thing, but like I wasn't the greatest student in school just because I was so focused on music. Like I would come home and after school and then just pull up YouTube and like watch all my favorite artists and then just learn their songs all night, and then probably like 9 or 10 would roll around. I'm like, oh shoot, I have to do homework. And I'd stay up till midnight or whatever, and try to do what I could. But
some would say you were doing your homework doing the music, right?
Yes, right.
What were some of those early artists that kind of influenced you?
Yeah, so I loved the Dixie Chicks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Taylor Swift was really big at that time, so she was a big influence as well. And then Miranda Lambert.
Sure.
Mostly country artists.
Okay.
The Dixie Chicks, I've always liked them.
Oh, so good. Like there was one concert, I can't remember where it was, but it was their live concert, and I would just watch that over and over.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just the musicianship, they were so good.
That's cool.
Playing live, that's the best, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. That's my favorite part, just getting out there and connecting with everybody.
Oh, but did you always feel that right from, do you ever get stage fright or anything, even early on when you started?
Not really. I mean, I think maybe more anxious at times if they're like a bigger show.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of people paying attention. But yeah, I don't know. It's not too much for me.
Was your grandma a showman on stage?
So I never really saw her play live.
Okay.
But from what I heard, like she would play different little festivals around because she was from Waukesha. Mm-hmm. And so she would play shows with my grandpa as well. Wow. And I don't know. There's like a couple pictures, but video and pictures weren't as big back then.
So. Do your parents play? I mean, growing up, you had your grandma influenced you on music. I mean, was there just music in the house all the time for you?
Yeah. So my parents love music. They don't really do music themselves. My mom sings a little bit. So she would, whenever we'd be in the car, she would be playing the radio, and then she would sing harmonies. And that's kind of where I picked up how to do harmonies too. So she actually did a couple of videos singing harmonies with me on social media. I got her to do like a few videos.
Sure.
So, yeah.
You guys have to have a great Christmas carols and all that. It's got to be beautiful.
Yeah, we try to carry on because my grandmother passed now. So we try to carry on the music, and my cousin sings as well. So last year we did like a little thing where we were just singing back and forth.
I love that.
Yeah, it was fun.
You mentioned your mom in the beginning helped you get gigs. I mean, how do you go about getting gigs? And I mean, your schedule, I was looking at it. You have an incredibly busy schedule. You play, seems like every night.
Yeah, I know. It's really fun, though. I like to keep it busy that way. But so when my mom would book those smaller venues when I was younger, and then about 17 years old, she was like, if you want to do this full time, you have to book yourself. Mm-hmm. So she was like, you figured it out now. And I remember I put together a spreadsheet. I would just Google like live music near me in Wisconsin, and I'd have like in an Excel sheet the name and the phone number, the email, and all that. And I remember my first call to one of the venues, and I was like shaking on the phone. I was like, "Oh, hi," and they did not hire me, but
Their loss.
But eventually, like, I got the hang of it, and for a while, it was just really contacting a bunch of places, and then going to support other musicians too. And then they were kind enough to like share info with me, and then now it's kind of gotten to this point where now the venues are calling me. So
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's
it's cool.
And social media is a huge part of it too, isn't it? You're doing all your social as well,
Yep.
all the posting and that?
Yeah,
I mean,
doing
that's
my
almost
best.
a full-time job too.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's a struggle.
I'll bet.
Some days it's like I've been trying to vlog and do little videos for while I'm here for the mile, and then sometimes it's hard for me because I'm very much in the moment type of person. So to remember to pull out your camera all the time is a lot, but it's just the way it is these days. So
That reminds me, I forgot to take pictures of this. We're supposed to be
right. See, well, luckily I got my husband here. He's doing all the things for me.
Hey, Newsa-Cast listeners, help us grow by subscribing wherever you get your pods or sharing the Newsa-Cast. Follow us on Facebook, X, TikTok, or Instagram. Northeastern Wisconsin Sports Advancement is a 501c3 organization. Our mission is to raise money, provide support, and bring greater awareness for youth sports organizations in Northeast Wisconsin. We do this primarily through the Red Smith Sports Award Banquet and the Newsa-Cast. Each year, we give back to the community through 3 initiatives: the Every Kid Plays Grant, the Gives Back Initiative, and scholarships to student athletes.
So as you think back, and all this is a tough question. Everybody we ask this to says, well, I can't really answer that because I don't want to make anybody mad. What are some of your favorite venues that you've played?
No, I think there's obviously all the venues are really cool, but I do have a few that stick in my mind. Like definitely the Gibson Hall here.
Okay.
I think I love listening rooms, so I just love playing that room.
Yeah.
I'd also say like a couple places I've played in Nashville. I was lucky to play the Bluebird Cafe.
God, yeah, that's awesome.
This past year, and so that was really cool. And then there's like another place down there called the Listening Room, which is another listening room. So I really like it there. I'm trying to think of where else, but those are the ones that stick in my mind right now.
So such a historic venue, the Bluebird.
Yeah.
How amazing was that for you?
Oh, it was so cool. So I used to try to get into the open mics that they would have every once in a while, and those are really fun. But it's unofficial, I guess. Yeah. And so I was invited this time to play, and it was it was just cool. The whole purpose of the show too was to have diversity in country music too. So they had all different kinds of like subgenres of country, and it was really fun. And I had my family there. It was just it's you go into the Bluebird, and I don't want to say it's like underwhelming, but it's very small.
Yeah.
And it's not like what you expect. But then when the music starts, you're like, oh, I get it. Like there's something about it. It's just so cool, and all the history there too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, what a city. Do you consider yourself country, or I feel like you're new country. I don't even know what the right term is for what you are.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know, because some of the songs that I write, I feel do come out country, and then some are more pop heavy,
right?
And then more like Latin even.
Yeah.
So I don't know. When people ask, I'm like, oh, country, pop, Latin. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, you do a great job of mixing them.
Thanks.
I mean, absolutely. You get a little bit of everything in your songs, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's fun. And I used to be like super into just straight up country. Like when I first started playing the little bars where I grew up, it was a lot of they wanted to hear like Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings and Loretta and all that stuff, and I fell in love with that.
Good.
And then my mom kind of was like, I know you love that style, but she was like, it would be awesome if you just kind of branched out a little bit and just tried to mix it up just for like a little bit of a wider audience.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of how I found my sound.
Yeah, you can tell it's more than one thing. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I grew up with so many different styles of music too, so just kind of influenced it.
What as your career progresses? I mean, what's your hope? You want to sell out arenas someday? Want to be Taylor Swift? I mean, what?
Right, that would be amazing. Yeah, I've always, wanted to just chase the dream of being a songwriter and being able to kind of have just this different style of music. Like, I would love to see, even if it wasn't me, I would love to see a Hispanic artist make it into the mainstream country, just because I feel like there's such a huge audience for it too. And I love that country music now has been so open to different styles. Yeah. So yeah, I would love to be, performing on big stages and just sharing kind of the mix of my culture and playing as many stages as I can. I've always looked at it like I have these goals of what I want to do, and whether that's like a record deal or anything like that, but I'm also very open to however it goes is how it goes.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Do you, is the goal to have a song on the radio? I mean, when you're writing a song, is that thought in your head, or are you're just writing for you and whatever the song is, it is, and if it fits the radio, fine. If it doesn't,
right.
Okay.
I think it's hard to chase that idea of keeping like the radio hit in your head, because I feel like that's when you lose the like authenticity of the song. So I always just try to write as authentic to myself and the song as I can, and obviously I think the number one thing is you hope it connects with somebody, and then if it goes to radio or whatever, that's cool. So it's just a bonus.
And that's what's cool, I guess, in this day and age with Spotify and iTunes and just all the way you can share music. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the radio.
Right. And I know radio is such a different world. Like, there's a lot involved with that too. So the fact that independent artists have other ways to get their music out there, it's pretty cool.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah.
Have you, I think she played right after you, Lily Collins. I think you guys are, she's going to Nashville too for school. So
I got to chat with her a little bit, and I'm really excited for her. Just the fact that she's majoring in songwriting, and Belmont has so many great opportunities for songwriters and artists, and so I think she's going to do really well.
I think so. I could see you two hooking up, and you guys would harmonize really well together.
Right,
I feel
that would be cool. I know we connected on Instagram, like the day before our set.
Yeah.
Okay.
At Dr. Jekyll. So then we got to finally meet, and I got to hear her.
So is there, I mean, in your dream scenario, is there a venue that you really want to play at some point that is like sticks out in your mind?
Honestly, like, this is a very big goal for me, but like one day I would love to play the Opry. I think that would be amazing. I'm actually going next month, or wait, it's August now, right?
Yeah.
This month, to see a friend of mine, Angie Kay, play there. And I feel like it's a pretty historic moment because she's I think one of the first Hispanics, female Hispanic, since like Linda Ronstadt. To play there. I'm pretty sure. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, that's like one of my big goals is to eventually get there.
Yeah, I didn't realize that's quite a gap from Linda Ronstadt. She was the last one to play.
I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Like, I can't think of another Hispanic artist in country music. So yeah, it'll be cool.
It's such danceable music and good music. It's kind of shocking that it's not. I wonder what the disconnect is.
Yeah, I think it's just like country music is starting to be more open now, so it's getting there. They did have an artist named Karin Leon, and he's a awesome Hispanic artist as well, and he does more like Mexican music. But he was at the Opry, and I think they've never had an audience like he did. So I only saw it online, but I had friends that went, and I was just amazed because I think he did all songs in Spanish.
Oh, wow.
And
that's awesome.
I swear, like, Hispanic people know how to party. And so, like, everyone was just going crazy. And I don't think they ever had an audience like that. So it's cool. It just felt like hopeful for, other artists that are doing
It
similar
feels like the
things.
culture that does feel like the culture, just, I don't want to say party culture, but just that festive celebration kind of culture comes out in the music, comes out in the personality.
It's true. They just, I don't know. They like to have a good time. And
So here's another maybe tough question. You look back through your years. You obviously mentioned your grandmother as being a huge influence, but are there some other mentors or some other people that you really think back that helped you as you move through?
Sure. There's so many local musicians that have helped me in little ways.
Okay.
I think another big influence for me was my dad.
Okay.
Because I always say I got the dreamer disease from him, because he's like such a dreamer and always wants to do big things. And I think I got that from him. And he's a really hard worker. So that I think he taught me at a young age to really just do what you can and, just work as hard as you can towards what you want. So
Live life with failure and not regret, right?
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
I heard somebody say that yesterday.
Yeah. Right. So,
That does always amaze me. I'm just in awe at musicians. One, how you can play and sing at the same time, but then you're right, check your emotions and do
Yeah.
that in front of people.
Yeah, because it's scary. It's a scary thing to. I think I said that yesterday. Like, it's a scary thing being a songwriter sometimes, because I tend to be kind of a private person. So to just like, hey, this is how I'm feeling when I'm at my absolute lowest or whatever.
Right.
It's like scary to share with a bunch of strangers.
Yeah, your raw
but-
feelings.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But honestly, like when you have someone come up to you at the end and say, oh my God, I've been there, or like, you've helped me. Like I had, when I sang that song at the Gibson Hall, like I always try to share when I sing that one, like if you're looking to do something that you're afraid to do, just go for it. Because I don't know, sometimes I'm a very big person that like believes in signs and all that. So if I can just help someone, do the thing they want to do. And I had a couple that came up to me and they're like, we've been really wanting to like travel, like sell our house and do van life and do
Yeah.
all the things. And they're like, we're taking this as a sign. Like, I think we're going to go for it. And I don't know if they did, but
Yeah.
it's just cool to hear something like that.
That's what it's all about for you. That's so cool. Inspiration.
So making that transition from Wisconsin to Nashville, there's two totally different types of music scenes, and then Nashville. So, that's the hub.
Sure.
So how has that been for you?
Oh, I have a blast. Like, honestly, like Nashville is definitely the spot where I feel like I thrive. I'm so thankful for here because so like when you're in Nashville, I think it's harder to get a bunch of shows like you do here in Wisconsin, just because there's so many people, fighting for spots.
Yeah.
And so here I'm thankful I get to keep my chops up with live shows. If you get some shows down there, it's really cool bonus. And then I do a lot of writing down there. And honestly, I go there to learn too. So
Sure.
if I get to see somebody, because that's like my favorite part about Nashville is just obviously there's the top-notch musicians.
Yeah.
So if I can like go down there and just learn a little something from them, even I love learning from people on stage too, the way they like move on stage and their, banter and all that.
Is it? I think people might have a perception that it's very cutthroat. Is it cutthroat, or is it a community and you guys are all together?
Yeah, I'm sure you can find people that kind of go about it in the cutthroat way, but I honestly feel like it's such a community.
Cool. That's
And
good.
like I am so thankful I found a great group of friends down there. So there's a handful of Hispanic artists down there trying to do country, get in the country scene as well. And to find that group of people has been so much fun, just because like we can relate. We all kind of grew up very different, but same with how our families are.
Okay.
And I've been thankful to, we lean on each other for, whether, did you go through this, or I don't know. And we're just there to celebrate each other's wins too. So
That's cool.
Yeah, I love it there.
Yeah, you need support. That's good to hear. Because Tosh is right. You're never, I guess you're just never sure if musicians are tight, help each other, mentor each other. But
Right.
It's cool to hear that you can learn, you have friends, and just help each other along the way.
Definitely. And yeah, it depends, obviously. Like, there's some people that are more competitive and whatever, that's just their thing. But when you do find those people, it's like, oh, I'm so thankful that you find them.
What's life like on the road as you travel? If you put together a little tour, do you like life on the road, hauling your gear? I mean, is it difficult? Is it?
I mean, it's difficult, but I love just, I don't know. I mean, I'm very structured, but I also love just going with whatever. So I love the chaos a little bit. Like, even just being here for the couple of days, like I had the 3 sets at different spots, and just like we were trying to catch like friends playing too, and then I'm like, oh wait, I have to go do my hair or whatever, and it's just fun running around for me.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, that is. How do you stay organized pretty well when you're out touring and playing? Is it tough to keep life organized, or?
Well, like I said, I'm a type A person, so I am very like religious with my Google Calendar. Like I like put everything in, and so yeah, I feel like I'm pretty structured with it, but yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure to have you. I mean, one, to meet you, to hear your music, to discover you. I mean, that's what Mile Music is about. So from that standpoint, it's been a success. Mile 11 has been awesome, just simply because of you.
Thank you.
And everybody else. But thank you for doing this. I mean, to get to know you and to learn about you, it's fascinating, and you have fans for life.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you having me. It's really been fun hanging out with you.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, Newsa-Cast listeners, you are about to hear a clip of the speech by Bill Macatee all the way back to 2005, 1 year before he did the 2006 Winter Olympics in Italy. Remember, though, this is only a clip. If you want to hear the entire speech by Bill Macatee, where do you go, Joe?
Tosh, you go to the Newsa-Cast YouTube page and you check it out, and you hit like and subscribe, and then you view it. And Bill Macatee, he continued a string of CBS sports announcers the Red Smith Banquet had back in that time, the mid to early 2000s.
Yeah, excellent. Check it out, and then check out our YouTube on Sunday.
Red Smith Sports Awards. Banquet Throwback.
The Red Smith Award, of course, goes to someone who has made some unique contributions to sport in Wisconsin, and also epitomizes the great values that Red Smith exhibited.
Let's give a Red Smith welcome.
Please welcome Bill Macatee. Bill?
Thank you. I really want to tell you how much I appreciate being a part of this tonight. You guys, to an outsider, are so impressive. 1,700 people here tonight. Give yourselves a round of applause. My man Chuck here. Chuck, a thankless job, but we thank you. You did a great job tonight. Thank you very much. I have to correct, though, something you said. Jim Nantz will be very upset to find out he's not doing the 18th at Augusta National at the Masters this year. I'm in Butler Cabin, and I actually have the coverage of the 14th hole, which I'll talk about a little bit later on the weekend. But I was so excited that I was coming here, but my daughter really was the most excited because she's 15 years old, and she's just starting the college process, and one of the schools that she is looking at is Lawrence. And so, yeah. And as Chuck said, my daughter's name is Caitlin, but as we like to call her around the house, she who must be obeyed. She gave me a list, kind of a checklist while I was here to things to look at. So she said, beauty. Is it a beautiful place? And even in the snow, it is the Fox River. This is absolutely a beautiful place. And traffic. Well, we live in Southern California, so the worst traffic in the history of this town is like a Sunday morning in Southern California, no problem at all. The people. Just look at yourselves. You're magnificent. The people here are unbelievable. The people are great. The weather. The people here are unbelievable. But there's a warmth that exists here. I'm from a small town in Texas, El Paso, which is like Appleton with a Spanish accent, a little spicier food. But there's just something here that is reassuring in the whole human race and our society that exists here. And I sometimes think about the journey that I've had personally coming from El Paso and getting to travel around the world, and some of the great athletes that I've got a chance to meet, and some of the neat people, including tonight, that I've gotten a chance to be around. And by the way, I just want to ask for another round of applause for our scholarship athletes. Their accomplishments, I mean, that's unbelievable what these young people have done, and so reassuring. It's very intimidating. If Chuck said up here, Bill Macatee woke up this morning, matched his socks, maybe. So as Chuck mentioned, I've been lucky enough to cover the Masters. I've opened the Masters television coverage from Butler Cabin on Thursdays for the last 15 years, which is an unbelievable honor, and there's no pressure at all being in that chair. But on the weekends, I go out and cover the action at the 14th hole. And even those of you who really know the game of golf, when I say the 14th hole, you're like, 14th hole, let's see. Because the 14th hole, I've made it my mission to try to get the 14th hole at Augusta some publicity. So if you'll do me a favor, next year when you're watching the Masters, you're talking to your friends about the coverage, go, the 18 was unbelievable, but I'll tell you what, the pivotal 14th was absolutely amazing, the things that went on at the 14th hole. Now, I want to tell you one quick story before I go, and that is, people always ask me, what's the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to you on television? Of course, we have huge egos, so I can't remember anything embarrassing about myself, but I can remember things about guys I work with. And I want to apologize ahead of time about what I'm going to say to you, but this happened on national television, so I feel like it's okay. We were doing the PGA Championship, and by the way, what an unbelievable face the state of Wisconsin put on national television last year at the PGA Championship at Whistling Straits. That was incredible. I know you had Herb Kohler here last year, and what a guy Herb is. One of my instant heroes. I mean, he is a terrific, terrific guy. The year before, it was at Oak Hill in Rochester, New York, and for those of you who are not familiar with golf terminology, if you hit the ball into a bunker and you get it up and down for par, that's called a sandy. If you hit it into the woods and you have to punch out and you manage to still make a par, that's called a barkey. So we're doing the first round of the PGA Championship, and Lee Jansen's playing on par 4, and he kind of puts the ball into the woods, and it's right up against a tree, and he has to punch it out. Goes to hit his third shot, hits just a magnificent third shot, puts it about 4 feet away from the hole. One of my fellow announcers, who shall remain nameless, Bobby Clampett, they go to him, and he's watching Jansen, national television, PGA championship, major championship in golf, Bobby says the following. He really wants this to go in because if he makes it, it'll give him a Woody. Now, Lee Janzen won the U.S. Open. I'm just glad I wasn't in the locker room with him afterward. Thank you again for letting me be here tonight. You're spectacular.
Thank you.
All right, Tosh, another good Red Smith Banquet throwback, Bill Macatee. Remember, you can get that full version every Sunday on the Newsa-Cast YouTube page. Please, please, please like and subscribe. Well, Tosh, we're getting close to the end of, we're getting, I guess it'd be the encore, right? If we're talking music, and our encore, our set doesn't change much. Our encore is, it's forgotten and never forget. And so, Tosh, what are you never forgetting in this world, this life, this day?
We're going to go never forgetting first. Okay. I usually
I screw that up. It's forgotten and I'm never forgetting, right?
Yeah.
So what's forgotten? Yeah.
Forgotten.
What's forgotten? What's
All right.
forgotten? Certainly I've screwed that up so many times.
That's
many
okay.
times.
We're not professionals. We never said we were.
Yeah.
Well,
Not professional.
now that August has started, I personally, this is the end of summer. So I want to forget that summer's over. I don't want summer to end, but unfortunately, it is really, truly. I mean, football has started. We've had preseason NFL games. The high schools are going, and that just means that school's starting, and that summer's on the back burner, and it's time to get ready for fall.
Tosh, it just bums me out that you say that. It really doesn't. I've even noticed too, like the sun is just not, you don't quite get as much sunlight.
Right.
Yeah, I love the seasons, but I don't want summer to end. And fall is fantastic. And I don't know if there's global warming or not. I don't know if the seasons have shifted, but it sure seems like September is like the best weather month of the year. So we have that to look forward to.
That's true. Well,
Glass half full guy, Tosh.
Yeah. So after that depressing note, Joe, what's your what do you want to forget?
Well, Tosh, I have two of them, actually. I've got a twofer for the people. The phone ring thing, Tosh, and me silencing my phone. Dude, what the heck? We're interviewing, I think it was Alyssia, actually. I'm sure Taylor hopefully took it out of the interview, but we're talking to her, and out of the blue, just my phone right underneath the microphone, just a huge, loud ring.
Yeah, that was pretty
And
epic.
I just clearly forgot. It's forgotten how to silence your phone.
Yep.
But that's not really, well, it is my forgotten, but the one I came to the table with today, and it was just from an observation of my time at Mile of Music, and that's pushing a stroller, Tosh. I'm so glad that's forgotten in my world. The struggle is real for these folks. I somehow I forgot how real that to try to watch these folks try to push that stroller into any of the indoor venues at Mile of Music was virtually impossible.
Yeah.
Copper Rock. You just, I mean, they tried. They came in and they tried, but it was tough going, and it was the parting of the people for sure when they came through. But I'm glad I forgot those days, and I was reminded that I'm thankful that I forgot those days.
Yeah, I don't miss those days as well. But you know what? From what I saw, people were fantastic and understanding, and even kids with headphones and everything on to protect their ears. It was fantastic to see families out enjoying Mile of Music. So
yeah, no, it 100% was. In fact, I spent some of the weekend, we talk about chunks of time. I got to spend a few different chunks of time with folks that would normally need to use a stroller, not for themselves, for their children. But they got to go out without the stroller, thanks to babysitters, I'm sure. So
nice.
That was kind of cool. One of those folks, it's going to be 3 for 3, I think. I got to hang with Holland Tosh. I hung with him for an evening on Saturday night. Spent some time and, Milo Music, talking Newsa-Cast. It was a good night that night.
Fantastic. That's good.
Absolutely. All right, Tosh. Now I feel the pressure that I've got to get the wording right, but I'm never forgetting that the next part of this segment is I'm never forgetting. So what aren't you forgetting, Tosh?
Well, I'm going to go for the low hanging fruit here. Milo Music, and just the amazing music lineup that they come up with every single year. And, it's maybe that's a future podcast. Maybe we can talk to Ian from Milo Music and just talk about the process and how they find the music that they do, because it's an eclectic music. I mean, you have jam bands, you have singer-songwriters on their guitar, you have, big bands like Bermuda Search Party. It's incredible. So a big shout out to the Milo Music team for their musical, I don't know what you want to call it, their interest and what they bring to the table.
Well, Tosh, that's mine as well. I mean, naturally, we can't end the show without just saying that. I mean, it's I said it before earlier in the episode. It's literally, it's no lie. It's my favorite 4 days of the year. And you're right. Thank you to Dave Willems and Kim for helping us and that whole entire team. And for anybody that's donated to it, it's unbelievable. The businesses, I'm sure, do well. They bust their ass, but they do, they do really well. I love that there's something for everybody. You're right. There's so much music and it's just that discovery. Like you never know what every day is going to be. Any of the days, all 4 days that I went were absolutely completely different from each other, from the music, from the people I was with, from the experiences I had. They were completely different. And that's what I love the most about Milo Music. So absolutely, Tosh. And what a great episode and what a great experience. And man, we got to do everything we can to keep Milo in Appleton, because it's unique and special.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
All right, Tosh. Well, with that, it was definitely a hoot. And till next week, Tosh, right? We'll keep the sweet music going.
There you go. Thank you for listening to another great episode of the Newsa-Cast. We'd really appreciate it if you hit up our social pages, subscribe, like, follow, and don't be afraid to engage. Head over to our YouTube channel to get exclusive content like the full interviews and speeches from the past Red Smith banquets.
A huge thank you to Diggstown for all the music in today's episode. Catch a gig or find them on Spotify.